In the prehistoric world, every day was a struggle for survival. It would seem that those who could no longer hunt or walk became a burden. But archaeology tells a different story. The elderly were not abandoned. Even if they had no teeth, even if they couldn't stand, they were fed, kept warm, and held close. Why? Because they were more important than they seemed. Among Neanderthals, old age came early. The average lifespan was around 30 years. Living to 40 was considered rare. And if someone lived past 50, that person was already considered old, and such finds exist. Archaeologists have discovered skeletons that show the person lived a long life. Their joints were worn down, all their teeth were gone, bones had fused after severe fractures. But they lived. This means that in the tribe, there were people who could no longer hunt, could no longer walk with the others, could no longer chew meat. They did not bring food, did not fight, did not carry loads, and yet there were living people next to them. Someone fed them, someone dragged them during migrations, someone chewed food and passed it on to them. In the modern world, this may seem normal, but for the Stone Age, it was an exception. In animals, old individuals are either driven out or die on their own. Not so among Neanderthals. The elderly stayed in the group, and the longer they lived, the more their bones told that story. They were part of society. Even when their bodies failed them, they were not cast out. That means they had another kind of value, and the group understood this. And if they understood it, that means they were capable of more than just survival. An old person in a Neanderthal tribe was neither a hunter nor a warrior. Their body could no longer cope. They couldn't chase prey, haul meat, or chop wood. But they had something the young didn't: memory. They remembered where the herds had been last year, remembered which stream didn't dry up even in summer, remembered who had died, who had been born, who once survived where others had perished. The elderly could help at camp, not physically, but with knowledge, advising how to sharpen tools better, how to clean a hide, where to find the right herb. They had seen hundreds of hunts and knew when it was worth waiting and when it was time to go. The young listened, not because they were afraid, but because the elders were right. They could care for infants while the mother gathered roots, could keep the fire going while the others hunted, could tell a story by the fire, not for entertainment, but so others wouldn't repeat the mistakes of the past. Homo sapiens have the so-called grandmother hypothesis. The idea that children's survival increases when a grandmother is nearby. This might have been true for Neanderthals as well. The elderly weren't dead weight. They were guides, from the past to the future. Their strength was in words, in gestures, in memory. And sometimes, that strength was enough to save the entire tribe. A toothless old man cannot eat meat. The skeleton of a Neanderthal from France, an elderly man who had no teeth left, shows that he lived a long time. How? He was fed, given soft food, chewed by others, given herbal infusions, brought water. He wasn't abandoned. That means he was cared for. Care was simple but constant. Cover with a hide, give a drink, move closer to the fire. If needed, help him stand. Wash a wound. Place a hand on the forehead. Care means actions repeated day after day. That's impossible without a desire to help. Care was usually provided by women, especially the older ones. They had experience, patience, understanding. But not only them. In a small group, care was shared by everyone. Children could bring water, men, meat, teenagers, firewood. The old man couldn't give strength, but he could receive warmth. Sometimes he was simply left to live in the center of the camp, closer to the fire, closer to the children. He wasn't in the way. He was one of them. He didn't need to be saved. He just wasn't cast out. What seems natural to us today was a rarity in the ancient world. But Neanderthals lived to old age. And that means someone beside them made the choice every day to stay close. In the Stone Age, every member of the group had to be useful. Otherwise, death for the whole community. But the elderly, even if they couldn't walk, were useful in other ways. Their experience was navigation through the past. They remembered where food had been found during drought. They remembered how to treat a wound that would have killed the inexperienced. When everything changes, climate, prey, dangers, the one who remembers the past becomes the most important. The elderly could compare. This has happened before. The animals went that way then. This water causes illness. Their words weren't guesses. They were knowledge earned through pain and time. Besides knowledge, they gave the tribe stability. As long as the elders lived, the group felt anchored to something solid. It was psychological support. A tribe without elders is like a tree without roots, all young. No one knows what to do if things go wrong. They helped, not with their hands, but with their minds. Even just sitting by the fire, they connected generations. They passed on not just facts, but the rhythm of life, rules, boundaries, things that can't be explained in words, but can be shown. Without the elderly, the group lost its memory. And without memory, survival was impossible. If a tribe takes care of those who can no longer work, that says a lot about it. It means Neanderthals weren't just surviving animals. They had structure. They understood that old age wasn't the end, but a different kind of usefulness. Their society had memory, continuity. That means there was respect for age, not out of pity, not out of fear, but out of understanding. Without those who remember, you can't build anything. And even though they left behind no writing or temples, they left something more important, a human attitude. They could have abandoned them, but they didn't. They could have walked away, but they stayed. That speaks not just of attachment, but of the understanding that strength is not always in youth. Sometimes strength is in the one who sits by the fire and says, "I've seen this before." Neanderthals are gone, but their bones still tell us that they weren't alone. The old lived out their days alongside others, and that is almost the most important thing, because caring for children is instinct, but caring for the old, that's a choice. And they made that choice thousands of years ago, without words, simply because it was the right thing to do.